John chapter 1, verse 1 to 14. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. There was a man sent from God, whose name was John. He came as a witness to bear witness about the light, that all might believe through him. He was not the light, but came to bear witness about the light. The true light, which enlightens everyone, was coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made through him, yet the Word did not know him. He made to his own, and his own people did not receive him. But to all who did receive him, who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God, who were born not of blood, nor of the will or the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we have seen his glory. Glory is only the Son of the Father, full of grace and truth.
Thanks, dear. All right. So this time of year, I don't know about you, but I think a lot about wrapping. Whether it is a notification that you get from Spotify that shows you your 2025 Spotify Wrapped. Let me go to the next slide. Oh, guys, that was my one kind of joke. Yeah, all right. So whether it's Spotify Wrapped season, or if it's wrapping presents season, we think a lot about wrapping things up. And if something is wrapped, you can consider that if something's wrapped, a few different things can be said about whatever's inside of it. Number one, this wrapped item is a gift from one person to another. And then also, this wrapped item, well, it's hidden. There's certainly more to it than what you could see on the outside. It's unseen. You could say it's even unknowable, unless you are a cheeky child and you do the little secret where you peek a little bit. But for the time being, it's unseen and it's unknowable. But the time is going to come when that which is wrapped is revealed. And so I'll just put this here as a reminder about the wrapped that will be revealed. So this Christmas carol service, I just have kind of a simple idea I want to get across. I want to remind us that Jesus is the one who has come to you, and he's come to you wrapped. He has come to you wrapped in flesh. He has come embodied and encompassed, surrounded with a true and real humanity, wrapped in all the trappings of first century life, and yet, mysteriously, is God with us. Great is the mystery of godliness, that God has been manifest in the flesh. And so here's the big idea of the next few minutes we have together. At Christmas, God gives us a gift that is wrapped, that is received, and that is revealed. So December 25th comes once a year. And for many of us, I'd say for most of us, it is a long-awaited, joyful date. For others, it could be a little bit complicated. It's part of the rhythm of life. But that's the thing. Guys, I'm coming up on my 43rd Christmas. 42nd. Yeah, my 42nd Christmas is coming. I've had a lot of them. Maybe we can compare who's had more Christmases and who's had less. But it certainly has become a predictable rhythm. And that's the problem with predictable rhythms. Sometimes we stop thinking about the significance of it because it's just something ordinary, something normal. I've had 42 of them before, and you've had your own number. But Christmas, it's not only just about a time on the calendar. It's not about the atmosphere. It's not about the lights or the nostalgia. It's actually an anniversary of a divine arrival. It's about God coming near. And so if we are going to understand this properly, we need to see this first. And so here's kind of the first thought. At Christmas, God gives us a gift. God gave you a gift at the first Christmas. And so we've heard a few different readings from the Gospel of Luke and the Gospel of Gospel of John. But I'd like to call our minds to a verse in the Gospel of Matthew. It'll come up on the screen, and it speaks about the promise. It's pretty bright, isn't it? Yeah, carols by burnt retina. This promise, ancient promise that came to pass in the time of the New Testament, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and they shall call his name Immanuel. Immanuel, which means God with us. So the title, Immanuel, it's not just like a nickname, it's a deep theological truth claim. It's saying that God has come out of the unknowingness of heaven and embodied with us. So the Father sends, the Spirit overshadows, and the Son comes. Behind the scenes, the entire Trinity is at work, but front and center stands the Son, the sent one who arrives. And so what happened at Christmas, it's that the eternal Son of God, well, he adds humanity to his deity. He comes down for each of us as one of us. We can go to the next black slide. Get the vibe back. Yeah, there we go. So, in the Bible, if you start at the beginning, if you read the Old Testament or the Hebrew Bible, there's actually a lot of stories about surprising births, or even to some degree, miraculous births. People who have no business having babies, ladies that are barren or old, and they're all of a sudden sent these special sons. Isaac was one of them. Samuel was one of them. Samson was one of them. We even heard a reading about how Elizabeth was given the son John. Each of these births is surprising. Each one of them is a big deal, but it also was an ordinary human child at the end of it. But this birth, the one that we celebrate year after year, it's different. This child is called Immanuel, God with us. So Christmas begins with a gift that God gives. So at Christmas, God gives us a gift. But the gift that God gives, it actually arrives in kind of a covered or a hidden fashion. So that brings us to our next section. God gives us a gift that is wrapped. So the Gospel of John, okay guys, brace yourself. There's a white slide coming. You can close your eyes and I'll read it to you. But it says this: "The Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we have seen his glory, glory as of the only Son from the Father, full of grace and truth." So here we could go back to the next, the black one. Here we have like the hidden, invisible God who has taken on flesh, is wrapped in flesh, veiled in flesh, the Godhead see. Hail the incarnate deity. So the Word who is with God, who was God, became flesh, human, ordinary. And the one through whom all things have been made, John chapter 1 says, stepped into the world that he made. And it's not that he is pretending to be human. It's not that he is visiting briefly, but truly dwelling bodily as one of us and for all of us. The early Christian theologian St. Augustine says that the eternal one entered into the time that he created. The infinite one enters into finitude, and the timeless one steps into history. And he did so in utter humility, wrapped in ordinariness. So the gospel tells us that Jesus was wrapped. On the one hand, wrapped in his humanity. But then, as we hear the Christmas story, Even as Scott read to us from the Gospel of Luke, we read about the time when his little body was wrapped in swaddling clothes and lied in a manger. The eternal Son begins his earthly life dependent and vulnerable and held and laid somewhere and wrapped. And interestingly, throughout his life, Jesus began it wrapped in swaddling clothes. And then at what many would say was the most important night of his life, there in the upper room on the night of his betrayal, Jesus rises up from the table, lays aside his outer garment, and he girds himself with a towel. Gird is just an old-fashioned way of saying that he wrapped himself with the towel of a servant, and then he kneels down and he washes the feet of his disciples. The one through whom the world was made stoops down and serves fishermen, zealots, messed up disciples. And he does so wrapped in a towel. So the one who came into the world and was wrapped in swaddling clothes, then at the climax of his life, wraps himself in a towel to serve. And then about a day later, after journeying to the cross, after dying a sinner's death, after paying the price for the sins of the world, then he is taken down from the cross, and it says that there he is buried in a tomb, and his body is wrapped once again. Not in swaddling cloths, but this time in a burial linen. We studied this in depth a couple weeks ago on Sunday mornings, but he was wrapped in cloth once again. That body that was warmly laid in a manger is now laid on a cold tomb and wrapped in a burial cloth. So from birth to life to death, the Son of God is wrapped, hidden in humility, concealed in weakness, but that is God with us. But a gift is not really a gift unless it is received, and that kind of brings us to our final thought of our brief little miniature sermon here tonight. So at Christmas, God gives us a gift, and that gift is wrapped, revealed, and received. So essentially, a gift, it's wrapped, but for a gift to truly be a gift, it has to be received. I'd like to call my son Finn up here, because I have something I'd like to give to him. Here you go, Finn. Actually, don't catch on, yeah. So, Finn, you want to open it up? Tell them what you got. All right. All right. Great job, bud. You really took your sweet time, and that's great. Yeah, and so a gift can be purchased, a gift can be wrapped, but the gift needs to be received for the transaction to be completed. So that's what we're supposed to see, okay? So at Christmas, God gives us a gift. It's wrapped, it's revealed, and then it is received. John, in the reading that Rosie did, it says, "We have seen his glory." So not everybody recognized him. Not everyone saw this. Not everyone received him, but some people did. Some people did receive the Lord Jesus. In John chapter 1, verse 12, it says, to those who received him, they received everlasting life. So there's a carol that we might sing that says, let every heart prepare him room. And so that line kind of, no, we're not going to. Maybe you've heard a song that says, let every heart prepare him room. Well, that means yeah, we need to make room in our hearts to receive him. But here's kind of the deeper hope of Christmas. A lot of times in the month of December, we think about Jesus in the womb of his mother, and her and Joseph are wandering around Bethlehem, and they're looking for a place. They're knocking on the doors, and there's no place for him in any of the inns. But you know what? Oftentimes that makes us think we want to have room for him in our hearts, in our lives. And I think, yeah, that's a wonderful thing to consider and think about. Is there room for Jesus? Am I making room in my heart and my life for Jesus? But also, here's the deeper reality. Jesus is no longer in that position. He's not looking for a place to stay. Maybe close your eyes, because there's one last verse to come up. John 14 tells us that actually he is not looking for a place to stay anymore. He's actually made a place for you, and you're invited. I go to prepare a place for you, and if I go to prepare a place for you, I will come again, and I will take you to myself, that where I am, you may be also. So at one time, there was no room for him in Bethlehem, but now he's preparing a room for you. So Christmas tells us that God gave the gift. The incarnation shows how the gift is wrapped, and the gospel invites us to receive what God has revealed. And so tonight, we just simply receive. The one who is wrapped in cloths now reigns in glory. The one who came near now calls us home. A hymn says, born thy people to deliver, born a child and yet a king, born to reign in us forever. So happy Christmas. So at Christmas, God gave us a gift that's wrapped, received, and revealed. And so we have 3 final songs, and I'm going to light a candle. Everyone get your candle out. Everyone make sure that it's properly held so that drips don't go on to our chairs. And here's what we're going to happen. I'm going to light a candle on that side, and then I'll light a candle on that side, and it's just going to be passed from candle to candle. It's going to be given, and then you're going to receive it. And so even the very act of receiving the flame can be a reminder of receiving the gift that has been given to us and for us.